rustic European bread. Doesn't that sound fantastic? Do you know we've never used this book? Hey friends, my name is Shanine, and thank you for joining me here at Simply a Better You, where I like to encourage people to try new things, to overcome your fears, and not to be afraid of making mistakes and just getting a little messy. So guys, today through the month of March, we are decluttering. I am decluttering the house, I am organizing the house, and I am doing a deep clean. Yes, it's springtime, although I think it started in Florida here. It felt like it started weeks ago. It's already in the 90s here, so it feels like summertime, but we're not quite there yet. But for the month of March, I am taking advantage of this wonderful weather, and we are deep cleaning the house. So we're going through the garage, we're going through each room, kitchens, bedrooms, bathrooms, living rooms, kids' rooms. Oh, the toys. Oh, the toys. But we're gonna touch every room in the house and empty and organize and deep clean everything. But while I am doing that, I want to pop in here with some quick videos to share with you some organizational tips and tricks, and maybe some ideas that I come up with along the way. So I'm in my kitchen right now, and I'm kind of going through the cabinets and seeing what can we get rid of, what do we not use. And I realized, wow, the top of my fridge is like the clutter catch-all. When you don't know where it goes in the kitchen, you put it on the fridge. When you really don't have a place for it, but you need to keep it away from the kids, you put it on top of the fridge. And it builds. And not only that, how often do you clean the top of your fridge? Now, I may be a neat, tidy, organized person, but I don't like to clean. I just don't like to clean. But I know the dust bunnies that are living on top of that fridge are really gross. So yes, I avoid it. But today is a new day, and we are going to tackle the top of the fridge. So as you can see on the top of the fridge, I mostly have the big bulk of this is just excess stuff that is landed up here. I've got pine cones that the girls collected from Christmas. I have cookbooks up here. We have an egg carton container that has ended up here. I'm sure I had great intentions of using it to, plant something in, or maybe get eggs from my aunt, but we have plenty of those. And I'm thinking, why do I always throw this stuff up here? I don't really know, but sometimes it's just easier to toss it up and out of the way. So guys, what I am going to do today is I'm going to pull the cookbooks. I'm going to pull everything off the top of the fridge. I'm going to wipe it down, and not all of this is going back up there. I'm going to rehome the things that don't belong. I'm going to throw away trash, and we're going to eliminate a lot of what goes up here. Now, what I would like to keep up here is my cookbooks. These are cookbooks that I access and I use, but I may not use every day. Usually the ones I use I keep down on my counter, but I'm trying this new thing where I'm clearing the surfaces off of my counter, so I'm going to put all my cookbooks up here on top of the fridge. But then I realized I have a problem. So let me share with you my problem. I have a little bit of a predicament. I love recipes, and I love to look for new recipes online, which means I usually print them out, and Joe prints them out. And there's one, a friend shared a recipe with me, so I printed it out. I even have recipes in here that Mia's brought home from school that they tried at school, and I'm like, okay, what do I do with all this paper? I mean, I hate paper clutter. As soon as mail comes in the house, I'm tearing it up and tossing it in the trash can. Most of my bills are either on auto pay, or they get paid, like I get the email and I go ahead and pay them. I get a text reminder, or it's already set up in my bank account, and it eliminates a lot of the paper clutter. But when I find a good recipe that actually works, or that I'm actually successful at cooking, I want to keep it. So I print it out and it collects. Exhibit A. My mother bought me this recipe organizer a long time ago, and I remember my exact words. Mommy, I really appreciate what you're doing here, but I'm not going to use that. Y'all, I was true to my words. This is probably, let's be conservative, at least 6 years old, maybe a little older. And it's a beautiful recipe binder. It has everything broken down, from the vegetables to the bread, eggs and dairy. It has little recipe papers in here, which is truly, it's great. It's organized. I love organization. It's got little pockets for papers, but this would require me to be very intentional and very organized about what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. And I knew myself at that time, with having young children, this wasn't going to happen. I was lucky if I got a shower every 3 days. And if you're a mom of kids that are under the age of 6, you understand me. It's just not, it's not attainable in that season of life. So I was truly honest with my mom. Now, in doing that, she knew that I love to do this and print stuff out. And she knows that I love to cook, and I use the recipes that I cook. And I started printing just tons and tons of recipes. And guys, these go back to 2007. So, 2005. So before Mia was even born. And I'm like, okay, so I've kept them, so I use them. And I think it's time to sit down and really go through these and take the time to actually hole punch them and put them in a binder. Now, not only do I have these, I have this. This is falling apart. I dropped it when I moved it off the top of the fridge because that's where I was keeping it, and I dropped it, so it broke. I have tons of recipe cards, and these are recipe cards that, I can go through and slim them down, but some of these recipes in here are family recipes that nobody else has. These are recipes that I sat down with my grandmother and wrote down as she gave me the instructions, and I want to keep these. And obviously I can't really hole punch them and put them in the binder. So I was thinking, and I came up with a little plan. Now, I used to be one of those couponers when coupons were a thing, and the coupons, I used baseball card sheets, but I got on Amazon and I searched recipe protective sheets. Recipe protective sheets. I didn't even think it was a thing. But these are actually big enough to fit my recipe cards, and I have recipe cards that vary in size, so I went with the largest size just to make sure everything would fit. And that way I can see the front of the recipe card and the back, and I don't have to take it out of the sleeve. So, with that in mind, my intention was to build my own recipe book and put my recipes in here, hole punch them, and make my own categories, because while I love this book that my mother has gotten me, it's not really broken down into how I would do this. I would not break it down into fruits and vegetables, breads and pastas, eggs and dairy, soup and salads, meat, protein, desserts. I'm more breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks. breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks. Probably maybe a bread section since we like to cook bread, and desserts and things. I wanted different categories, so I'm gonna go with my own binder. I'm gonna take this binder and I'm going to donate it so somebody else can make use of this. While it is wonderful and it is a great idea, I'm taking this great idea and I'm adapting it to something that's gonna work for me in the season that I'm in. So I'm using an old school binder and it's got all my psychology notes. So I'm going to go ahead and discard those. I'm going to repurpose the tabs and write on here what I would like to do. So breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, maybe even a category for school lunches. And then if you guys have visited Simply a Better You before, you know that I like to batch make breakfasts and some lunches and dinners so that we have food to grab that is quick when we're on the go. I am the only morning person in my house, so my girls kind of roll out of bed late and they're like, well, I'm hungry, and I'm going, get in the car, get in the car, get in the car. And they're like, I haven't eaten and I'm hungry. And it's like, grab food. So I have realized that if I just have stuff that is a quick, grab and go, they're eating and I don't have to throw, granola bars or junk food or a bag of chips or something that is already prepackaged, which is more expensive. And I'm constantly buying that stuff and throwing it at them. I can just spend a day and make it. And sometimes not even a day. I can get a few breakfast casseroles done in maybe 2 hours and have them made, and 4 of them go into the oven and come out, and I have 4 casseroles, which I can then freeze or I can chop up and they can pop them in the microwave and we can go. So I like this idea, and I'm going to go ahead and assemble this book. Now time will tell if I actually use it. So I am going to put this together. I'm going to transfer over my recipe cards, so that means this goes in the trash, and I've eliminated that. I'm going to go through the recipe cards and throw out anything that just doesn't look appealing or I wouldn't use. Like, I think these were something that Joe had gotten with, nope, these might have been my mama's because these are Weight Watcher cards. And I think I just took the whole stack of her recipes when we were going through her things and just threw them in here. But like things like this, we don't make Jell-O jigglers. We just don't. So going through this, throwing this stuff away, keeping what I'm going to use, and then, the index portion of it, I'll probably put in a little bag. No, I won't. I'm just going to throw it away and let it go. Sometimes I think like other people can use bits and pieces of things that just, I have to stop myself. I'm trying to be helpful, but I'm not. So we're going to go ahead and get this assembled. Now to hold my cookbooks. You guys could see that I just have them stacked up there, and they were kind of stacked on they were stacked laying face down because they kept falling over and sliding down the side of the fridge. And I thought, well, I'll just put 2 things up there to hold them, which was my recipe box, and it fell over and off the fridge and broke. So I've decided, you know what? I need a different option here, something that's going to work. So I measured my cookbooks that I use, and I went ahead and I got 2 because I know I have at least 2 baskets worth of favorite cookbooks. So these are my cookbooks. These are my cookbooks off my counter. These are the ones that I keep out and I utilize. And I'm actually thinking of slimming this down some. A lot of these recipes you can get offline. And then I've realized I don't use this book very often, so I may be letting that one go. But then I have my collection from off the top of the fridge. So I want to share with you guys how I go about decluttering things that I love, that I've obviously put money into, I've collected, or they've been given to me. And how to choose what stays and what goes. So we're going to start easy. I've never used this. My intentions were to use it. However, when I got it and I flipped through it, I realized these recipes are not something I would necessarily use. I wanted to learn canning and jams and things like that, but I needed something that was a little bit more broken down. So this worked better. This is canning and preserving without sugar, which is a plus for me. And it has all the recipes in here. There's nothing really fancy, but I use it. I've gone back to this book several times for anything from vegetables, meats, fruits, jams, jellies. So this is the book that I use. So this is the one that I'm going to keep. And we're going to donate this to Goodwill because I know canning is becoming really popular these days. I love Bobby Flay. I got this book for my late husband because he loved to grill, and I don't even think we broke the binding on it. We never used it, but the pictures look really yummy. And it's got some great ideas in here as far as grilling. Ooh, look, lobster tacos. But honestly, I've never used it. I want to use it, but I don't utilize my grill very often. And I wish that I was this kind of person. Like, I use my grill. I live in Florida. Why wouldn't I want to grill? Especially with all the seafood I have access to. But it's not me. I wanted it to be me. I really, really wanted to like learn how to use the grill and love doing it. And I just don't. So I've hung on to it with the idea of, oh, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm really going to do it. But I haven't. So we're going to let this one go. And I know somebody is going to love that book. Rustic European bread. Doesn't that sound fantastic? Do you know we've never used this book? But it looks so good. I want to make rustic bread. I don't need a bread machine to do it, that's for sure. And oh, thank goodness, there's no pictures in it, so it won't pull me towards keeping it. It looks amazing. It sounds amazing. I'm sure it tastes amazing. But I can't eat the bread that I used to. And I know that we're not going to make any rustic bread unless it's me trying a new recipe that I print off from online. So I'm sure somebody is going to really love to get this book. So we're going to put that in the go pile. Okay. This book was a gift. This was from my Aunt Nita. She has a great passion and love for cooking. And she gave me my recipe box with this cookbook. And then she put a few of her recipes that are my favorites that she makes in here. And I'm going to hang on to it. I'm not ready to let go of it yet, so I'm going to hang on to it. If I don't use it, and I'm going to put, after I dust it off, it's obviously I haven't used it. It's making me look bad. I'm going to put a sticky note on here that says that if you don't use me in 1 year, let me go. That's my reminder of you're not utilizing it. That means that it's not serving a purpose, and the value that I'm putting in this book may not be exactly what I think it is. So we're going to hang on to it for right now, but it gets a sticky note. This is an easy go. It just, yeah. Goodbye. Okay. So let's see what we have left. Now, there's a little secret. There are more cookbooks in the garage. I have gone through my cookbooks and donated the rest of them. Joe still has his to go through, and I can't go out there and just pitch his books. That's just not, it's not right. So I'm going to allow him to decide, but he needs to make sure he's going to tell me, you know, yes, I'm going to use this cookbook. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to put a sticky note on it. If it doesn't get used in a year, that means it's gone. But we have 2 baskets. Let's pull these over here. So I've got my 2 baskets. I went ahead and measured them to make sure that they would fit the books that I'm using. This also stops me from buying more cookbooks, which I've already been eyeing this other cookbook. It's a paleo one-pot meal book. I know, I'm excited. And it's only, it's $7.82. It's on sale right now, so I might get it. If I love it, great, I'll use it. If not, I'll donate it. So, but for right now, I'm definitely keeping my canning book. So there are my books that I use. This we're going to fill up with recipe cards, and I'm actually going to put this between here because it is too big. And then we have a bin for extra cookbooks that we get, or cookbooks that Joe would like to keep, which is where we are going to put this one. So let's get started putting these together. So I went ahead and I put on a YouTube video just to have some background noise while I went through this project. I removed any duplicate recipes. I had 3 beef stew recipes. I removed anything that I knew we weren't going to eat, that really wasn't part of our diet anymore. And then I also found quite a few recipes in here that I had actually already written on recipe cards. So I was able to get rid of those as well, and it definitely helped slim down this pile. So it wasn't quite as much as I thought it was going to be. I got everything hole punched and ready to go and slipped it into the book. Now for the recipe cards, I did the exact same thing. I went through and pulled out anything that was a duplicate, and I did find a lot of duplicates because my mother had actually written down recipes out of my cookbooks. So I was able to let a lot of those go. I also found a lot of recipes that, we just don't use and don't eat anymore, and was able to slim down the pile and get them into the book as well. And the rest of it hit the trash. So good to let those go. I love how the book turned out. I got it assembled: breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, desserts, breads, holidays, canning. I just loved it. The rest of the books I put into my donation box, and I'm done. As soon as these are loaded and closed up, they will go straight to my car and to the donation center. And now, the part that I love the most, putting it all together so that it looks nice and neat. I love how this turned out. I am so happy with this. I really hope that this binder works for me. I did keep one extra thing on top of the fridge, and that was our electric fly swatter. Don't want the little ones to get that. So guys, there you go. I am so happy with the way this book turned out, and it looks so much nicer and just put together. It's easier on the eyes. It doesn't really draw your attention up there, and if it does, it's like, oh, it's just cookbooks. It's not, oh, it's this and this and this. Now, I gotta figure out what I'm gonna do with all these pine cones. This was supposed to be a Christmas project, but I think I'm gonna have to let those go. So guys, basically what I am trying to tell you guys today is that it's okay to let go of some things. And if you're feeling overwhelmed, or things just don't look right, they don't feel right, it's like, why can't I ever get this done? Why is my kitchen always messy? I propose this to you. Declutter first. Pull it out. Take out the things that you don't use, that you don't want, and get rid of them right then and there. Don't wait. Don't put them off to the side. Get rid of them right then. Make the decision and stand firm on that decision. If you're not ready to let go of your things, put a date on it. Put it in a bin and hang on to it for 6 months or a year. And if you haven't touched that thing, more than likely you're never going to touch it again, except that one time that you pull it out and go, oh yeah, I have this. I want to challenge you to do that. I have a bin of my own that I keep kitchen supplies in. And if I don't use those supplies within a year's time, I know that it is safe to let these go. Why do I want to keep them in my kitchen and cluttering up my cabinets so that it is so difficult to get things in and out? It just makes it more frustrating to even start a recipe when you're like, I gotta get the mixer out of the bottom of the cabinet and I gotta move everything to get it. You know what? I'm just not gonna do this recipe. Make it easy on yourself. You wanna enjoy cooking. You wanna enjoy being in your kitchen. So once you declutter, then you put in simple organization. You know, organization can be so complicated if we make it that way, or you can do it simply. Try something. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Try something new. Simplify it more. I'm going to try this recipe book. If it doesn't work and I don't want to keep things in categories, or I just want to have a place to throw my excess, paper recipes, then that's what it's going to be. It has a home and I don't have to worry about it, which is the best part. And it's quick and easy for me to do. So I'm not stressed out about it. I know that it's there, it has a home, it lives right there, and I don't have to worry about it. And then finally, maintaining it. So when you start something new and you're experimenting with this and you want to see if I'm going to be able to maintain this, give yourself some grace. It takes time to form new habits. And I really suggest that you guys read Atomic Habits. It really helps break down exactly what our habits are, why do we have them, how to introduce new habits, and how to make those habits stick. It has really helped me a lot. By having these cookbooks up here, this is a place that I put cookbooks. They're easy for me to access. But how do I maintain the habit of not placing other things up there? I'm going to have to be conscious of what I'm doing. So we're going to see how it works. And if it doesn't work, then we're going to change it. We're going to change it so that it works for us. So guys, as always, I thank you so much for joining me on my journey. I hope that you can hang out with us for the rest of March as we are decluttering this house. I can't wait to do the garage with you. So guys, I hope you have a wonderful day, and as always, I bless you on your journeys.